And in fact, you should use visuals. I don't know if it's part of the point system, but I still want you to do it. That says spring 2016. It should be summer. I'm falling behind. Here's the thing. This is in our 4th edition. Look at this. Free copy for instructors, not for resale. I got this for free. Chapters 20, 21, and 22 cover the stuff on visuals, and I will encourage you, obviously, to read that, as well as the chapter on persuasive speaking. Blah, 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 blah. What chapter 20 does is sort of just talking about presentation aids. And then 21 talks about designing those. And then 22 is just basically a brief guide to PowerPoint, if you want to use PowerPoint. And you don't have to, but you can. As long as you have a couple of visuals that enhance the persuasiveness of your speech, that's cool with me. So, by the way, I love visuals. Actually, I'm being sarcastic there. I'm not a big fan of visuals. I like, we live in a visual world, but I sort of, when it comes to speeches, I tend to like sort of old-fashioned speeches. Like at the convention. It's not like they have PowerPoint presentations. The brilliant speech by Michelle Obama that was all about identification with the audience and being optimistic, whatever your political perspective is, that was a hell of a speech. She didn't have a PowerPoint. So, I found this online. I don't know if you can find this, but I see this. This is a PowerPoint Lincoln had for the Gettysburg Address. And you can go to different slides. Next, next, next. So, yeah. So, I tend to like what you actually say and how you say it. Just know that. One thing that is important, though, that you do need to remember, just as a teacher, I need to remember that people learn differently. And I'll let you go back and look at that. But if you want to learn more about it, obviously, educational scholars have found a lot of learning styles, and there certainly are people who are visual or spatial learners. And so you can use words differently, but also, offering images can help them understand what it is that you're talking about. So, good stuff there. Okay, so basically, page 158 basically has the entire stuff, if you're thinking about like charts and graphs. Best use of different types of charts and graphs. Line graph, bar graph, pie graph, pictogram, flow chart, table. All these are great possibilities of something that you could use in your own speech. But generally speaking, the process here is pretty, select an appropriate aid. Okay, what's the best thing that I could possibly use in line of my speech? Object, a model, a picture, a graph, a chart, audio, video, multimedia. And then it talks a little bit about each of those. Choose method of display. And by the way, this is a little bit old. Remember that we are no longer in Cottingham 108, but we are in Breed 104, I think. Whatever. But so what technology do we have there? And we have quite a few things, but you're always thinking about, okay, what do we have there? And so when it says to decide how to present, we can use computer-generated aids like PowerPoint. Overhead transparencies, and we can use that as well since we have Jill to teach us how to do it. Flip charts, I can bring an easel in if you want to have a flip chart. Posters are fine. But, you got options. So what is the type of aid you want? What's the method of display? And then it talks a little bit also about rehearsing with them. See checklist on page 161, practice with the aids until you're confident. So you shouldn't just throw it in and you give your speech next week. You should have, in fact, practiced with it and did all the things that the book says. Okay, the next stuff, designing. Strive for simplicity. Keep it simple. Follow 6x6 rule. Use no more than 6 words in a line, no more than 6 lines on a one slide. Okay. I get to do that well. Beware of chart junk. Have you seen this where people have on posters like a montage or something? You don't know what the hell they're talking about? Okay, don't do that. Design things consistently. It talks about, there's so much stuff in here. It talks about the typeface that you use. It talks about how you use color carefully. I mean, I know this is no-brainer stuff, but sometimes folks will have like a yellow poster board and put, you know, orange on or something. You can't see that. So be careful about that, not only with like old-fashioned stuff, but you know, more contemporary stuff. Consider even the interpretations of color. Certain colors mean certain things in our world. You know, it's not an accident that the politicians are using what colors? Red, white, and blue. America. So you got this checklist here again. And again, I'll just let you read chapter 22 because it's all about PowerPoint. Here's what you can do tonight at home with your family if you like to. It's an application activity, and you can get out the crayons if you have crayons at home. And I'm not going to give you topics. Well, you can. Yeah. How about monkeys, stars, iPhones? I don't know. But the process is always come up with an idea. Do I need a model? Do I need a graph? You know, what is it? What's the idea? What's my method of display? Computer, poster, whatever. How am I going to design it so it looks good and it's persuasive and the audience will be able to see it? And again, don't worry about PowerPoint at home unless you want to. Again, the big story here is I'm not a big fan of visuals when it comes to your speeches, so I like them to I like speakers to use them sparingly, but well. So if you have at least one that helps to explain something or adds to the persuasiveness or whatever it is that you're talking about, I'm cool with that. Okay, the last thing that I want to talk about here is organization. And I knew you couldn't see it, so I printed this out. I implore you to read the assignment for both the assignments. What are you hacking up, Finn? What are you hacking up? Hairball. Organization. Know organization. Know your organization. Everybody's going to use the motivated sequence, which in my book means everybody has 3 main points. 3 main points. How many points? 3 main points. And so I think this example outline that I have put on KC from a former student is really, really good. And so, so take a look at that and use that as a model. Notice how, again, you have specific purpose and thesis. The introduction, she labels each thing, grabs the audience's attention, introduces the topic, establishes her credibility and goodwill, previews the main point, transitions to the first point, and then we have the first main point, which basically is the problem that undocumented students cannot go to college, join the military, blah, blah, blah. And she, by the way, she highlighted her sources just so I would find them. You don't have to do that, but notice how the first main point, neat. There's a problem. Evidence, 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 evidence. Transition to the second main point. The DREAM Act bill states that, so she's for the DREAM Act. So the second main point, again, satisfaction or solution to the problem. And she goes through and talks about exactly what the proposal is all about. She even has some information about why it's failed. Transition to third point. If the DREAM Act is implemented, this is what would happen. Visualization. Everybody's going to have visualization. And she has lots of evidence here and appeals to the imagination, lots of good pathos that we'll talk about later. And then transition to a very good closure. She summarizes the key points, reiterates the topic, challenges the audience to respond for a call to action, and then she talks about her own stuff because she was a dreamer too. She still is a dreamer. And then her works cited. Look at that, because it's really good. But you've got everything in front of you, right? I mean, you got the directions. This is, you just need to pick a topic, do tons of research, and sort of try to fit it into that organizational framework. That's key. Make sure you follow that motivated sequence. 3 main points in your speech. 5 paragraphs in the paper. Take care, work hard, and I will see you tomorrow.